in Liberty in Northern Ireland, you know, because the Irish were not accustomed to seeing African Americans.
Right.
And it was really pretty funny. A lot of kidding that went on and all that. And, but it was all good natured.
Now, I also see that you also had like pet animals with the Coast Guard. Like you mentioned, one of the dogs, he was drunk and he was feed whiskey or something like that.
Sinbad.
Yeah, Sinbad, right. Then he was sent back to the country from Belgium, I believe, or no, Greenland.
Okay. Sinbad was smuggled aboard in 1937 on the Camel. Mm-hmm. Had a pretty quiet life. He grew up on the ship. I mean, I have photos, if you've seen, you know, as a pup.
Right.
So he could climb the ladders on a ship. They didn't feed him kibble. He ate whatever the guys ate. They took him, and we don't tell a lot about his drinking habits, except people who are over 18 or whatever. But he'd go on Liberty with them. The ship was stationed in Boston. He had a bar in bowl in every bar in Scully Square. He was notorious. He got in trouble for chasing sheep when they were up in Greenland and got court-martialed. But he was really in a way the first therapy dog because the crew loved him. He was only, you know, really about this high. He was like 20, 24 pounds, little guy. But the crew took him everywhere. And he was probably a piece of sanity in an insane world. I know all the dirt on Sinbad. I republished a book called Sinbad of the Coast Guard years ago. It was a lot of fun. It was a kid's book. Drawings are great. I had a stuffed animal made of him, or made for him, and there's just a lot of fun stuff. But he becomes a recurring story through the book because it's humorous, because nothing bad happens when Sinbad's around. And the people, you can laugh at Sinbad amidst the horror of the convoys. He was just a trip. He got court-martialed twice and still got an honorable discharge. He was retired at Barnegat Coast Guard Station. There was a bar nearby. Died in December of '51. Was buried with full military honors. On and on and on. So he was a unique pup. A lot of ships had mascots. Sinbad had a Life magazine article written about him. It's a whole raft of stuff. He really hit the big time.
Now, throughout the book, there were some of the technical difficulties that U.S. Coast Guards faced. For example, that one of the ship's propeller was ripped off, or maybe that you said higher, but somebody heard fire and then started to launch torpedoes. Or maybe like you were sending like sonic booms under the sea to detect the U-boats, but at the same time you're launching the missiles which are blasting and then disrupting into the sonic signal.
Yeah, sonar. Okay, you're talking about sonar.
Right.
Okay, and sonar, the British called it Aztec. All right, it's really good, but it's very short range. As you know, I'm sure the people in class know, if you want to signal it, whether it happens at sonar or radar, if you want a signal to bounce back, you have to send it out at twice the strength. It's like shining a flashlight at night, okay? What you can pick up is very short range compared to somebody on the other end who can see the light from miles away, can pick up a radar signal or pick up sonar. And then when you drop these depth charges, huge explosion creates bubbles in the water. It's basically a barrier for any sound transmission. Rough seas, you know, the seas pound and pound, breaking seas build up this barrier that goes down literally hundreds of feet. So sonar was a mixed blessing. Everybody says it was great. Well, it was great if you had good conditions, a good operator, and you caught a U-boat pretty much unaware, or you were working in pairs so that the one ship could come in and attack while the other kept track of where it was. But that's an ideal situation. So it was like radar, very limited in use. The early radars were a mess. You know, they're bouncing around. If you're bouncing around, if you're seeing signals and your ship's going like this, you know, these